Part 79. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 781. Chapter 781. Mrs. Mo's face turned green with anger. Mrs. Mo. She was so angry that she could not speak. How could there be such a shameless woman? What kind of woman did her son marry? Chiao Mian watched Mrs. Mo being so angry that her chest was shaking. She didn't feel guilty at all, but felt a little happy. She is not a good person to begin with. When others are kind to her, she will naturally be kind to others. But if others treat her badly, she doesn't have to rub her hot face against their cold ass. No matter what she does, Mrs. Mo will not like her. Now he even threatened her to divorce Mo Yesi. She no longer wanted to respect such a mother-in-law. Don't you want her to divorce Mo Yesi? Then she will open her mouth like a lion. She knew that Mrs. Mo would never agree to her, she just said that on purpose to annoy her. Sure enough, after hearing the conditions she gave, Mrs. Mo's face turned green with anger. Didn't she say that she was doing it for Mo Yesi's money? Then she would just be a woman who only cares about money. Mom, please think about it carefully. Chiao Mian pressed the service bell on the table, and soon a waiter came over. After asking about the price of the bill, she took out the black card Mo Yesi gave her. Under Mrs. Mo's angry gaze, she handed the card to the waiter, and then said to Mrs. Mo with a smile, "You came from afar. I've invited you for coffee. I have something else to do, so I won't stay with you any longer. I hope you can give me an answer as soon as possible, because after today, you should really think about it. Maybe I'll change my mind." After saying that, she didn't care what Mrs. Mo's reaction would be, she got up with her bag and left. Asterisk. Leave the coffee shop. Chiao Mian looked at the time and was originally going to go back to the hotel room to read the script. As soon as she pressed the floor number, her phone rang. Looking down, she saw that it was Mo Yesi who had sent her a WeChat message. He just got off the plane and sent her a WeChat message to say she was safe and asked her what she was doing. Chiao Mian opened WeChat and wanted to reply to him. Just after typing 2 words, an idea suddenly came to my mind and I deleted the 2 words I had typed one by one. When the elevator reached the floor she did not step out, but pressed the button again for the first floor. After an hour. F City Airport. Chiao Mian got on the plane with her boarding pass. After finding her seat, she sat down and took out her mobile phone to reply to Mo Yesi's WeChat message. Mian Buruanmen, do you go directly to the company or go home? Mo Yesi replied to her immediately, go to the company first. I was delayed yesterday and today, so I have to go to the company to have a look. Chiao Mian, oh. Mo Yesi quickly replied to her, I still owe you a serving of sweet and sour pork ribs. Next time I go there, I will make it for you. Looking at his reply, the corners of Chiao Mian's lips raised. He was still thinking about the sweet and sour pork ribs. She had almost forgotten. Actually, I said I wanted to eat sweet and sour pork ribs last night, just casually. There is still some intention to make things difficult for him. Unexpectedly, he actually remembered it. She thought for a while and replied, it's better not to wait until next time. I really want to eat tonight. Mo Yesi, honey, I'm afraid it won't work tonight. Chiao Mian wanted to give him a surprise. So she didn't plan to tell him that she was on a plane flying to Yun City now. She thought for a while and finally replied, okay, let's wait until next time. I'm about to get into the elevator. I'll talk about it later. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 782. Chapter 782, do you think this kind of man is sincere? After replying to this WeChat message, the stewardess's sweet reminder sounded on the radio, reminding passengers that the plane was about to take off and to turn off all electronic devices. Chiao Mian turned off her phone, lowered the position, and prepared to take a nap. As soon as I closed my eyes, I heard a surprised voice coming from beside me, Chiao Mian. Chiao Mian. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Miyazawa with surprise on his handsome face, standing next to her seat looking down at her. She also had a look of surprise on her face. I didn't expect to meet Gongzili here at all. She made an impromptu decision to fly back to Yunchinj today. It's really you. Gongzili met her pair of dark, soft, and bright eyes, as bright as stars. He didn't know why, but his heartbeat suddenly skipped 2 beats. He looked away unnaturally, looked at the seat next to Chiao Mian, and walked past her. Chiao Mian. No. Miyazawa sat next to her? Isn't this a bit too coincidental? Then she saw Miyazawa Li Zhen walking to the seat next to her and sitting down. Chiao Mian. After Gongzili sat down, he turned his head and looked at her. He hesitated and said, "Aren't you filming? Why are you on this flight? The filming is not going on." Chiao Mian. Although her impression of Gongzili is not so bad now, and she feels that he is not so annoying. But Gongzili still felt like a stranger to her. She will never forget the unpleasantness of the first meeting. And several of his subsequent attacks against. They all made her have no good impression of this man. So, when Gongzili talked to her, she actually didn't want to talk to him that much. However, thinking of what he had clarified for her on Weibo last time, she hesitated and responded to him, "Nothing to do today, it's a day off." "That's right." Gongzili nodded and turned his head back. Seeing that he didn't seem to be planning to continue chatting with her, Chiao Mian couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. She really didn't want to continue chatting with him. The relationship between the two seems not to be familiar enough for small talk. She also turned her head and took out the eye mask from her bag. Just as she was about to put it on her eyes, she heard the man next to her say again, "Is your ex-fiancé still pestering you? It was the last time I saw him on the street. That one." Chiao Mian. She didn't want to pay attention to it at first. Gongzili continued, "A good horse never turns back. That man looks unreliable. Don't be fooled by his sweet words. I saw him eating with a woman yesterday, and the two of them looked very different. For an intimate look. While he is getting back together with you, he is also dating other women. Do you think this kind of man is sincere?" Chiao Mian. Suzy is dating another woman? Well, although she already knew that Suzy was not a good person, she had no other feelings for this man except disgust. However, at this moment, I was still disgusted by this scumbag X. That day, he begged her in public on the street to get back together, looking affectionate and sincerely changing his past mistakes. So soon, you went on a date with another woman? Every time she realizes how much of a scumbag Suzy really is, she will seriously doubt her previous vision. After all, she used to think that Suzy was a very reliable and honest man. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 783. Chapter 783 Meeting Gongzili on the plane. He is different from other fun-loving scumbags. Belongs to a refreshing trend among the rich second generation. In the end, reality slapped her hard. Gongzili spoke for a long time, but didn't hear any response from Chiao Mian, so he couldn't help but turn his head to look at her. The girl had a very beautiful face. The side face is naturally very beautiful. Miyazawa was so close to her that he could even see the curve of her eyelashes. The thick and slender eyelashes are curled up, and they look as if they were plucked from the eyes of a ragdoll and then grafted onto her eyes. He has never seen a woman with skin as good as Chiao Mianmian's. Her skin is so white that it shines, and the skin on her face is even more white and rosy, so delicate that not even a pore can be seen. With a status like Gong Zili's, there is naturally no shortage of beauties around him. He has grown up among beauties since he was a child. But he had to admit that he was amazed by the girl next to him. Now he gradually understood why even a guy like Mo Yesi could fall in love with her. Hints of sweet aroma drifted over from time to time, lingering in his nose. The familiar scent reminded him of that night 10 years ago. "Can I ask you a question?" He endured it again and again, but still couldn't. Lately, he has always felt an indescribable feeling of anxiety. He didn't know what he was so anxious about. He was anxious to know whether he had made a mistake on that night 10 years ago. But the more anxious I am to be sure and to find out the truth has been unable to be found out. Chiao Mianmian didn't want to pay attention to him. Even though he helped her once, he still stood by Shenro and had a good relationship with Shenro. Chiao Mianmian didn't want to deal too much with such people. But people kept talking to her, and she ignored them at all, which seemed not to be a good idea. She still replied, "What? Did you go to any banquets when you were a child?" Chiao Mianmian was stunned for a moment. Is this the question he wants to ask? Of course she went to the banquet. Although the Chiao family is not considered a wealthy family, it was still quite wealthy among ordinary people before it fell into decline. I also participated in many banquets, large and small. As the eldest daughter of the Chiao family, Father Chiao would take her with him every time he went to a banquet. Although she felt that Miyazawa's question was a bit puzzling, she still replied, "Well, of course." Gong Zili was silent for a while, and then asked, "Have you ever attended the Gong family's banquet?" "From the Gong family?" Chiao Mianmian turned her head and looked at him strangely. There seemed to be something surging in Gong Zili's narrow and feminine eyes. After meeting her eyes, he looked at her and nodded, "Yes." "Have you ever attended the Gong family's banquet?" "It was about 10 years ago." "Do you still remember?" He felt that Chiao Mianmian should remember it. 10 years ago, she was almost 10 years old. Not too young either. Chiao Mianmian saw that he seemed very anxious and couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Gong, what exactly do you want to ask?" First asked her if she had attended the banquet, and then asked her if she had attended the palace's banquet. "It's weird, what do you want to do?" "Answer me first." Gong Zili clenched his fists, feeling nervous for the first time in his life. He looked at Chiao Mianmian intently, "Think carefully. 10 years ago, when you were about 10 years old, did you ever attend the Gong family's banquet?" "The banquet was in the summer." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 784. Chapter 784. He asks some strange questions. Chiao Mianmian. Her memory is not very good. I can't remember many things from 10 years ago. She wanted to just say she didn't remember. But she could feel that this matter might be very important to Gong Zili. So she thought about it seriously before answering him. "I may not be able to answer you. 10 years ago, I had a car accident, and I have forgotten some things from that year. I don't remember whether I attended that party you were talking about." Gong Zili was full of expectations and nervously waiting for her answer. But after hearing her answer, the expectation in his eyes instantly turned into disappointment. "She, don't remember? How could it be such a coincidence? She had a car accident that year, and she had just forgotten what happened that year." Just when he was filled with disappointment and his mood suddenly dropped, a glimmer of hope suddenly ignited in his eyes. "What about your parents? You definitely didn't go to the banquet alone. You don't remember what happened back then, so they should remember it, right?" Chiao Mian was startled. After a few seconds, she nodded slowly, I should remember it. Then can you ask them if they took you to the Gong family's banquet back then? He didn't know what was wrong with him. Obviously the person that night was Shenro. There is no need for Shenro to deceive him. However, he suddenly felt that the person that night might be someone else. Just because Chiao Mian smelled familiar to him, he actually wondered if she might be the girl who saved him that night. He actually began to doubt Shenro. In the past, the person he trusted the most was Shenro. When did he stop trusting Shenro so much? Perhaps it was from the moment he suddenly discovered that Shenro had changed. At that moment, she suddenly felt strange to him. Chiao Mian was silent for a moment and did not answer him immediately. Last time, she had a quarrel with Chiao's father because Chiao Angzan wanted to move to Chiao's mother's bedroom. So far, the father and daughter have not been in contact. Seeing her silence, Gong Zili immediately asked, "What's wrong? Isn't it okay? It's not impossible." Chiao Mian hesitated, frowned, and said, "Mr. Gong, why don't you ask my dad directly about this matter? He and I haven't been in contact for a while. You can ask him more clearly if you ask him directly." Gong Zili is also a smart person. I immediately heard another meaning from what she just said. Okay, I understand he didn't ask any more questions, but his eyes still fell on Chiao Mian. After another moment of silence, he hesitated and asked, "Then you can always tell me, can you swim?" Chiao Mian, yes. Yes, Gong Zili nodded again. Chiao Mian really couldn't bear it any longer. "Mr. Gong, may I know what you want to ask? Did I attend the Gong family's banquet 10 years ago? Does my ability to swim have anything to do with it? Otherwise, why would he suddenly ask about these things?" Chiao Mian felt that he seemed to be investigating something. But what exactly is related to her, and what is related to her 10 years ago? She was really curious. Well, it's related to one thing. That thing is very important to me, so I want to find out the truth. But before the truth is found out, I'm sorry I can't tell you what it is. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 785. Chapter 785. Let me give you one. Alright. Chiao Mian is also very knowledgeable. Since she can't talk about it, she doesn't ask. "Mr. Gong, have you finished asking?" Chiao Mian picked up the eye mask again. "If there is nothing else, I want to sleep for a while." What she holds in her hand is a pink cat cartoon eye patch. Looks very cute. Gong Zili thought he might have had a twitch, because he actually asked, "Where did you buy that eye patch? It's very cute. I want to buy one too." As soon as he finished asking, he wanted to slap himself twice in the face. MD, mentally retarded. Did he actually ask such an intellectually retarded question? What on earth was he thinking? Chiao Mian's hand holding the blindfold also shook, and the corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. Why does she feel that Miyazawa is so weird today? He was completely different from the one she knew before. She felt that she was still more accustomed to the cold person he was. At least, she will think he is normal. And now he made her feel a little scary. "I bought these eye masks on Dobayo. You can buy 3 of them for 10 yuan. After Chiao Mian was silent for a few seconds, she thought about it and reached into her bag to take it out. After a while, Gong Zili saw her take out a new eye mask from her bag. It's also pink, but it's a cartoon eye patch of a little bunny. She handed the little bunny eye patch to him, pursed her lips, and said a little embarrassedly, "If Mr. Gong likes it, then I will give you one. Just think of it as..." Halfway through her words, Chiao Mian stopped again. She wanted to think of it as repaying him for helping her before. But after thinking about it, I felt that it was a bit insulting for her to ask for Gongzili's help with a 3-piece eye patch that cost 10 yuan. People like them, no matter how many people ask for help with money, they don't even bother to look at them. After all, they are all rich and powerful, and they are not short of money at all. If you agree to help, it is definitely out of love. Her eye patches, which cost 3 pieces for 10 yuan, are really shabby. Just when she started to regret and wanted to take the blindfold back, Gongzili didn't know if she could see that she wanted to take it back, but suddenly he reached out his hand very quickly, and before she could react, and took the blindfold away. Chiao Mian Mian. Is this speed too fast? Mr. Gong, you. Her hand was still stretched out in the air, and before she could take it back, the thing in her hand was gone. Ahem, Gongzili may have felt that his actions just now were a bit inappropriate for his status. He covered his lips and coughed twice, turned his head evasively, and conveniently put the little rabbit eye patch on his eyes. I just need an eye patch. Although this thing is a bit girly, it can be used. That, thanks. Chiao Mian Mian. She said it so reluctantly, as if she was forcing him to use it. It was obviously him who snatched it just now. Okay. Forget it, she was too lazy to argue with him so much. Anyway, it's 3 items for 10 yuan, so she doesn't feel bad about giving them away. Chiao Mian Mian was also a little sleepy. She had a late night fight with Mo Yesi last night, and got up early in the morning. She was a little sleep deprived. She closed her eyes, put on the eye mask, turned over and fell asleep with her back to Gongzili. She was really sleepy, so she fell asleep soon after closing her eyes. Soon, I fell asleep. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 786. Chapter 786 Dreamland. On the other hand, Gongzili was not sleepy at all. The little rabbit's eye patch was stained with the sweet and delicious smell of the girl, and it penetrated his nose from time to time. That sweet breath was like a kitten's claws scratching his heart. It tickled him every time. He then realized why girls are said to be fragrant. There are many women around him, but he doesn't like the smell of perfume on those women. Always feels a bit pungent. But the sweet scent of Chiao Mianmian's body did not make him feel pungent or cloying at all. It was a smell he liked very much. Indistinct, if there is something, it seems like nothing. He remembered this sweet fragrance for 10 years. Even after so many years, once he smells it, he can remember it immediately. He suddenly remembered that he had asked Shenro before. Why don't you wear this perfume again? Shenro's answer to him was that she didn't like the taste anymore. Later, that perfume has been discontinued. He also asked Shenro what brand the perfume was, and he thought he could buy a bottle. Because he really likes the sweet aroma. How did Shenro answer him at that time? She seemed to be saying that it was a perfume she randomly picked up when she went abroad. She forgot the specific brand. After that, he never asked her again. Although it was a pity for him that he couldn't find that perfume again, he felt that none of this was important. The person who owns that perfume is by his side, and nothing else matters. Until he smelled the sweet fragrance in his memory again. Until he suddenly realized that Shenro might have lied to him. If that perfume had been discontinued long ago, how could he smell it on Chiao Mian? If production had not been stopped, why would Shenro lie to him? Many doubts were blocking his mind, and he was eager to find answers. He felt that he was getting closer to the truth step by step. Asterisk. Miyazawa had a very short dream. He dreamed about that night 10 years ago again. In the dream, he fell into the swimming pool. He choked on the water because he couldn't swim, and his body sank bit by bit uncontrollably. Water also filled his mouth and nose little by little. His breathing became difficult, as if someone had strangled his neck, and he was almost out of breath. He kept struggling in the water, calling for help. But everything was quiet. No sound could be heard except his cry for help. His calls for help over and over again seemed to be lost in the sea, and no one heard him. The air in his chest became less and less, and the boundless darkness rushed toward him, and he gradually became unable to make a sound. Even though he knew he was dreaming, at this moment, Gongzili was still scared. The fear of death made him uncontrollably afraid. He wanted to call for help, but he could no longer make a sound. Help, who can save him? He didn't want to die, he really didn't want to die at all. Tears flowed from his eyes, and he could feel that death was getting closer and closer to him. Just when he had fallen into despair and was ready to die, suddenly, a white light lit up in the darkness. He opened his eyes and saw a person swimming over from the white light. He couldn't see clearly what that person looked like. You can only see that she is wearing a white skirt and her hair is very long. When the long hair is fluttering in the water, it looks like seaweed. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 787. Chapter 787 found it in Xiao Mian Mian. Gongzili couldn't help but stretched out his hand towards her. Soon, a soft white hand grabbed him and brought him to her side. His survival instinct made him uncontrollably cling to the girl. He reached out and hugged the girl tightly. He smelled a nice sweet fragrance from the girl. It smells like flowers or fruits. While lifting him out of the water and taking him to swim towards the shore, he vaguely heard the girl say something to him. She said, "Don't be afraid, I will save you, you will be fine." Perhaps it was because of these words that he felt at ease immediately. Then he was relieved and let himself fall into a coma. Then, when he opened his eyes again, he saw Shenro squatting next to him, all wet. Seeing that he was awake, Shenro's tears suddenly fell down. She held his hand tightly and called him with a choked voice. She said, "Zili, you finally woke up." She also said, "I am so scared, so afraid that I will lose you." He was a little unconscious and stared at her for a while. The white figure flashed through his mind and asked in a hoarse voice, "Rura, did you save me?" Shenro did not answer him immediately. It is the people around you who answer him first. At that moment, he felt that Shenro was an angel. She is the girl he should take good care of throughout his life. This dream was very short-lived. Soon, Gongzili woke up. He took off his blindfold, raised his wrist and looked at the time. It was only half an hour since he fell asleep. The plane is still flying through the clouds. The surroundings were quiet, except for the occasional rustling sound made by passengers flipping through magazines. Thinking of the dream he just had, Gongzili felt a little dazed. He was stunned for a while before slowly coming back to his senses. Everything in the dream is very real. It was so real that he seemed to have experienced the fear of drowning that night 10 years ago all over again. In his dream, he could still feel the fear and despair he felt at that time. However, the girl swimming toward him from the white light gave him hope and courage for life. He couldn't describe what it felt like. Perhaps in the eyes of others, just because someone saved his life, he developed feelings for his life-saving grace. This feeling cannot be called true love. This feeling is more of gratitude. But he knows it best. The heartbeat at that moment was not fake. Every person has a different way of feeling love. For him, the feeling of love at that moment is love. But there was one strange thing, which he had never figured out. That night, he felt that he was very attracted to Shenro. But it was just that night. After that, he fulfilled his promise at that time, always treated her well, doted on her, loved her, and regarded her as the most important woman. The brothers around him all felt that he loved Shenro terribly. Even he himself felt so. However, after that night, when he saw Shenro again, he no longer had the heart-pounding feeling he had at that time. He was confused. If you like someone, how can you not fall in love with that person? He had also doubted his feelings for Shenro. Did he really like her? There was a sound of turning over beside him. Gongzili turned around and glanced at Jiao Mian, who was still sleeping soundly. His narrow and deep phoenix eyes narrowed, and there was a complex look in his eyes. Some of the feelings he couldn't find in Shenro were found in Jiao Mian. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 788. Chapter 788. Hello, are you, Jiao Mian? He doesn't really believe in so-called coincidences. In his view, there are very few real coincidences. If too many coincidences are found in a person, perhaps everything is not a coincidence in the first place. That incident 10 years ago. He must find out. Asterisk. 3 hours later. The plane landed at Yunchinj Airport on time. Jiao Mian also woke up on time. She took off her blindfold and stretched out her hand to rub her eyes. She felt much better after a good sleep. As soon as I turned on the phone, I received several WeChat messages from Mo Yesi, as well as 2 missed calls. Jiao Mian opened WeChat and saw 3 WeChat messages sent to her by Mo Yesi. Mo Yesi, wife, I'm at the company. Mo Yesi, wife, I have to go to a meeting. Mo Yesi, wife, I just finished a meeting. Why don't you reply to me? What are you doing? 2 missed calls were made to her by Zhang Luli. Jiao Mian thought for a while and sent a WeChat message to Zhang Luli. Lulu, what's the matter? I was just on the plane and just landed. After sending the WeChat message, she waited for a while, but Zhang Luli did not reply. When she clicked on the chat interface with Mo Yesi and was about to reply to Mo Yesi's WeChat message, she suddenly felt a gaze from beside her falling on her, a bit cold. She raised her eyes and saw Gongzili standing next to her with a sullen expression, as if his eyes had just moved away from her mobile phone. Jiao Mian thought he was unhappy because she was blocking the way. She immediately stepped aside consciously and gave up her place to go out. Unexpectedly, her move made Gongzili's face look even worse. It was as if she had done something to make him angry. His previously gloomy face instantly turned into a 5.1. Jiao Mian. She didn't know what she had done wrong. Haven't she already given up her position? Why does this man look even worse? But she didn't think much about it. In her opinion, Gongzili had a volatile character, and he was fine before and looked easy to talk to. It seems like his personality has changed. In a blink of an eye, it returned to her familiar appearance. However, she had no intention of having a deep friendship with him, and she didn't have much feeling for his hot and cold behavior. Jiao Mian ignored him, picked up her bag, and followed the other passengers off the plane. Gongzili stood there with a gloomy expression. Seeing her petite figure being squeezed into the crowd and quickly disappearing from his sight, his face couldn't help but become gloomier. Thinking of the chat message he had just glanced at on her phone, he felt as if something was blocked in his heart and he felt uncomfortable. Although, that was a very normal chat message. Asterisk. After Jiao Mian got off the plane, she followed the crowd towards the shuttle bus. Having just taken a few steps, a cautious and somewhat uncertain voice sounded from behind. Hello, are you, Jiao Mian? It is the voice of a young girl. Jiao Mian turned her head in surprise and saw a young face full of youthfulness. Behind her stands a little girl about 16 or 17 years old, with twin tails and a baby face. When she smiles, her face is full of collagen, which makes her look particularly cute. Chiao Mian stared at the girl for a few seconds, making sure that she didn't recognize the girl. She asked doubtfully, "You are? Are you Chiao Mian?" The girl ignored her question and asked again what she had just said. A pair of round eyes glanced back and forth on her body, as if sizing her up. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 789. Chapter 789. Can I take a photo with you? And he looked at it very carefully. I am Chiao Mian felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by the girl. She covered her lips and coughed lightly, then asked, "Who are you? Do we know each other?" "Wow, you are really Chiao Mian." The girl grabbed her hand and shouted happily, "I'm your fan, I like you very much." "Wow, I didn't expect that. I met you by chance. I'm so happy. Sister Mian, I really like you. Can I take a photo with you? Many of my classmates also like you very much. I'll send you a photo of me and you soon so they can envy you." The joy on the girl's face was beyond words. Looking really happy. Chiao Mian was stunned. She looked blankly at the young girl in front of her. Is this her fan? She already has millions of fans on Weibo, so it is certainly not strange to have fans. But this is the first time she has met real fans in real life, live fans. This is the first time that she clearly feels that she also has fans. Isn't it possible? Seeing that she had not spoken, the girl's little face filled with joy slumped, and there was a trace of loss in her eyes. But he still let go of her hand very sensibly, biting the corner of his lip, and said softly, "Okay, I'm the one who interrupted you. If you can't take a group photo, can you sign an autograph for me?" Chiao Mian was stunned for a while, and finally came to her senses. Looking at the girl's disappointed look, she immediately grabbed the girl's hand. In the girl's surprised eyes, she raised a sweet smile towards her. "Do you want to take a photo?" "Of course you can." Really? The girl looked at her in surprise, eyes wide open. Yet Chiao Mian took the phone from her hand, turned to the beauty camera, opened it, and pointed it at the two of them. "I'll take the phone, and you stand behind me, so that your face will look better in the photo. Look smaller." Chiao Mian met a real fan for the first time. She is also a very cute little girl. She was responsive to this little fan's requests. Not only did she cooperate with him by taking many selfies, but she also gave the girl a big hug. After separating from the girl, Chiao Mian was still a little excited and couldn't help but post a Weibo. Chiao Mian v. Suddenly I feel that I also have fans, happy, v sign. She added a photo from the airport. Originally, I wanted to post a selfie of her and that fan, but I didn't know if the little girl would mind being exposed, so I gave up the idea in the end. After 2 scandals, Chiao Mian's fan base has skyrocketed, and she now has more than 1.2 million fans. And these more than 1.2 million fans are all real fans. Just after she posted it on Weibo, there were more than 100 comments in just 1 minute. She clicked in and took a look. Then I found that her fans almost all commented unanimously, saying they didn't take a selfie. Among Chiao Mian's fans, many are her fans, and they have been clamoring in the comment area all day long for her to post selfies. She is not someone who likes to post selfies. Unless she needs to post photos for work, she rarely takes photos of herself. She was scrolling through Weibo for a while, and suddenly saw a picture posted by a fan. In the picture, it seems that she is taking a photo with the little fan who took a selfie with her. "I want to be beautiful today, group photo, Sister Mian, tell me quickly, are you the person in this group photo? Someone said that they met you by chance at Yunchinj Airport. Is this true?" End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 790. Chapter 790, Go out in person and tear off the anti-fans. Soon, this comment with the picture was pinned by fans and became the #1 hot comment. Xiao Mian was stunned for a few seconds after looking at this hot comment. Suddenly her phone rang, and the caller ID showed it was Linda calling. She picked up immediately. "You met a fan of yours at the airport today and took a photo with her?" Linda asked straight to the point. Xiao Mian was startled again. She thought Linda called her to tell her something about work. Unexpectedly, she actually asked about it. "Yes. Sister Xie, is there any problem?" She had already been involved in 2 scandals, and she felt very unsure, so she asked cautiously. Although she sees no problem in taking photos with fans. And she's also a female fan. However, she was frightened by the 2 previous scandals, fearing that she would do something inappropriate again. After asking, she waited anxiously. "It's just a photo taken with fans, how can there be a problem? I want to ask you if you have seen your fanite's Weibo? If you have seen it, please repost it. This can help you gain favor. Although I said before the scandal has been resolved, but there are still many people trolling you online, and your popularity with the public is still not very good. This can help you increase your popularity among passers-by." "Okay, I understand, I'll forward it right away." Xiao Mian couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, she didn't cause any trouble again. If she causes any trouble again, whether Linda wants to terminate the contract with her or not, she herself will want to terminate the contract out of guilt. Hang up the phone, Xiao Mian clicked on Weibo and searched again, and soon saw the Weibo posted by the little fan. "Little fans ask me to give me a cute one. Send me a cute one, OMG, I bumped into my idol sister Xiao Mian at the airport today. My sister is super invincible and friendly to the people, without any airs. When taking pictures, they not only asked me to hide behind me so that my face could look smaller, but they also offered to take more pictures. By the way, my sister also gave me a loving hug. She smelled delicious and was so soft when I hugged her that I couldn't bear to let go. I love my sister and I will be her lifelong fan." Little fans posted 4 photos of the 2 of them. Xiao Mian checked the time. There was almost 5 minutes between the time the little fan posted on Weibo and the time she posted on Weibo. The Weibo post posted by young fans has been retweeted almost 1,000 times, and many people in the comment area lamented that Xiao Mian's appearance is invincible. Because young fans told everyone in the comment area that Xiao Mian was wearing no makeup at the time. The little fan also replied to the netizen, saying that Xiao Mian's skin was very good. She looked closely and couldn't even see a pore, which made her cry with envy. Of course, there are those who praise her and those who criticize her. Some netizens said that she was pretending, and even the chance encounters were said to have been arranged in advance. He also said that looking barefaced does not necessarily mean he is barefaced. Most people can't even tell if the makeup is well applied. The little fan was angry and immediately went to attack these people. But she is a teenage girl after all, how can one person defeat several black men? These black guys have dirty mouths, and the little fans who keep licking and scolding them dare not reply to them. Xiao Mian was just casually reading the comments. When she saw these anti-fans actually attacking her little fans, she was so angry that she didn't think much about it and went to the battlefield to tear them up herself. She replied to one of the black people with her own account, "Open your mouth and shut up to lick the dog, what's the matter, you did it yourself and feel unbalanced, so you think everyone is like you?" End of this chapter.